My name is Ian and welcome to Planted. In this video I want to talk to you about collecting your own seed. Now I've talked about seed collection before. Here we are in early November and now is the perfect time to go out there, see what your garden has got for you. And it might be that you don't want more of that plant, but I want you to use this as a way to practice harvesting seed and having seed successfully germinate. And when you've got that experience, you can do anything. This is a plant called echinacea. I grew it from seed earlier this year. It came true to type. That is that the color it said it was is in fact the color that it is now. It's a beautiful white. And these are the seed pods. These are the flowers from last year. Sorry, these are the flowers from this year that have now turned into producing seed. First thing is to make sure that your seed is ripe. And you can see here, it's dry and desiccated. This is good. There's lots of ways to grow this seed. You can put this in bags and harvest it and keep it for next spring, sow them in trays and really pamper them and baby them to get them to germinate. But this area here is perfect for seed production as it gets a little bit of shade from the hot summer sun. And all I do is just sprinkle seed in this area and keep an eye on it. I don't dig it, I don't plant it, I'll just throw these seeds around. And I've got rain coming tomorrow, and these seeds will be here all winter, having a cooling effect, which is stratification. And I expect these to germinate next year all by themselves. So this area will not be dug up. I don't want to bury the seed, but I come in here and I get close down and I look to see what's germinated. Now, tell me, is there anything easier than that? The answer is that there isn't. Fully expect a bunch of those white echinacea flowers to germinate. You can then give these away. You're going to end up with way more than you need. You can give them away to your friends. You could actually sell a few of them if you felt like it. But that's echinacea. Let me see, what else do I have to show you? This is another lily, but you can see here these seed pods are much, much larger. And I actually bought this and grew these lilies from seed. So I'm confident that this has got a viable seed strain, as that is how it was grown. It's not a hybrid. I'm going to harvest these seeds and gosh, there are so many. There must be thousands of seed in there. Look at that. Something to remember is that seeds are produced in a very, very high quantity, and that is because only a small percentage of them are going to be cast upon soil that is providing favorable conditions. So it's not unusual for a plant to put out so many seed only for a very small portion of them to germinate, as in the case with this. Do bear in mind that you don't have to germinate every seed that you capture. If you are collecting the coneflower which we just saw, and you collect 2,000 seed and you think you've got 200, and you sow them all and you get a really high percentage of germination, you've got more plants than you can possibly know what to do with. And that is a problem, because then you'll feel the need to pot them all up and you don't know what to do with them. So the trick with growing plants from seed is to grow enough. If I were able to grow 20 of these into viable seedlings, I'd be delighted. So I don't need to sow 2,000. And this is a big problem for new gardeners that feel that they have to grow everything. You don't. It wastes your time, and it also wastes resources. Lots of potting mix, lots of pots, lots of space. And then somebody has to water them. So take it from me to tone down your plant growing aspirations. You're much better off having 10 or 15 different varieties of plant that you're cultivating with 10 of each or 20 of each, rather than having hundreds of just one variety. All right, now I'm going to take you to my heated greenhouse. I recommend that you start with those plants that grow outside year-round in your climate, as they've got the highest ability to put out viable ripe seeds in your summer. Now this plant's a little bit different. This is something that not many people will grow, but I think it's very appropriate. This is a plant called Pandoria, It's a tropical plant. It won't grow outside in our winters without some artificial heat. So I have it growing in a pot, and I brought it into my greenhouse. And what this has are these very substantial seed pods. You see that they are green and quite heavy and large. The downside with tropical plants is that they will need a longer period of time to put out ripe seed. Because they are growing in a warmer environment, they don't have any short window with which to ripen. So this one is just starting to turn brown at the end, but it's not ripe. Here we have another one that is starting to go brown. You can see that there. But if I come all the way up here, look at that. You can see that we have what could be a ripe seed pod. Very excited by that. So the sources of plant material are very, very wide. But I do need to clarify something. It's really important that not only is your seed pod ripe, that is, it's gone from green to brown and it's dry, and when you shake it, it should make a noise. They also need to be viable. And viability is the likelihood that the plant seedling, the seed, can actually germinate and grow into a plant. It gets complicated. Not every seed pod is viable, not every seed pod is ripe, and just because you sow a seed doesn't mean it will germinate. And the reason this is so important is that you may have had very poor success rate in the past and think that seeds are a waste of time. It's quite likely because the seed wasn't viable and the seed wasn't ripe. If you get dry seed and you sow them properly, you will get some to come up. So this is a really good testament to patience and trying something a little bit different. And what I want to do is open this one up in front of you. Now, if I pop it, the fact that it cracked like that early on is pretty good. But look how paper thin these seeds are. And that is so that when they fall, the wind can disperse the seed and it can travel a further distance. So if you imagine this vine here growing 10, 20 feet up a tree, the seed popping, opening up, and the wind coming by and carrying that seed off to a new location. And there's a lot of seed in here. There you can see them dropping. These are tiny seed. I don't think they're viable. I have much more optimism and hope for the brown seed that's up there. So I'm going to give that best shot and see if we can get something to grow from it. So check all sorts of sources. If your plants are not putting out seeds in your garden, go and find your friends. Go and see if they've got something that you can harvest. I have another plant that I want to show you. So let's go over here. This is the Cochleosanthus, the corkscrew vine, and I grow this in ground in summer, but it won't live out in the winter. So I dig it up and I put it in a pot, and I overwinter it in my greenhouse. And I must have cut off lots of branches with so many seed pods on them, but look what I did. I left these with the hopes that they will actually ripen. And there's something that you can test. If you look and you start to see indentations on the pod, and that means that the seed is growing inside. If it's flat, there's less likelihood that there's seed inside. So these might take a month or two to ripen, but if I can get viable corkscrew seed, I will have lots of friends that are very, very happy. And I do think it's worth mentioning that seed can last in the ground for many years. And just to prove my point, this was growing in my garden all by itself. I did nothing. I didn't know it was there. And this is a self-set seedling of Cochleosanthus. And I knew I grew this plant in this location about 3 years ago. And this came up this summer. So that seed has been stable and safe, just waiting for the right environment to grow. And here it is. I got a free plant. Do have a go at collecting your own seed. You might choose plants like the echinacea, where the seed is on the exterior and you can easily pick it and cast it onto the soil. Or you may have some plants that have got a seed pod, You may sow them now, you could save them and save them for the spring. Either way, give it a go. Happy planting. Bye for now.